Random thought. Does a woman's body count matter to you, Mr. Single Man?
No.
Okay, so I'm asking this because, there are a couple things. One, when we did the last Married at First Sight reunion part 1 recap, one of the things we talked about was whether Alexis actually went back to see Justin one night because she was drunk leaving the club. And I said, yeah, because it's possibly did happen because women like to double back, just to keep the body count low. And then I came across this, right? And it's this woman who's on a podcast saying why women should keep the body count low.
I do believe that female body count is really important to men. And I think if I were a guy, I would care about it as well. Here's why. I think that it's a sign of disrespect to yourself to not treat sex as something that has value. And I think that guys still value purity in women. I don't think they have to be virgins, but I think they value women who have been hesitant to put their bodies out there with everyone.
Is she telling the truth? Is she preaching? Is she reaching? According to the mayor of Atlanta, is she preaching or reaching?
She's reaching, because I think it's what I don't like about what she's saying is that, again, this double standard where women have to be like this for men. And I thought if we're trying to liberate ourselves, and we have the Me Too movement, we have all these things, women could sleep with as many people as they want to, just like men do.
Right.
And so I don't judge a woman's body count. I don't even ask. I don't care. I don't want you to be a virgin. There's that. Right. So at least you kind of know what you're doing. But I don't judge about any of that. And I think just because someone has a lot of sex or whatever they do, as long as they're safe, who cares?
Now, you say you don't ask how many. I mean, and let's be real. After you got past your first or second year in college, you probably need to stop asking anyway. But is it because, one, you don't want that question thrown back at you like, so I stopped counting when I was, or is it because it really doesn't matter, or you just really don't want to know, or because you think that maybe she's going to lie and tell you, it was 3.
No, so I don't ask because I don't care, right? Now, if she were to ask me that question, I'd be honest and say, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And then I've told people that I've met, I'm like, look, I was a freaking whore in my college days. In my 20s, I was a hot mess in my 20s. I didn't get that much better in my 30s. I mean, I just got a little bit better. It wasn't until the later 30s is when I'm like, okay, I need to get my life together a bit. But I was a mess. And so I can't judge her because then she could easily judge me. What's going to be my excuse? Well, I'm a guy. It's okay for us, but you need to be pure. No, I just don't care. And I think that anytime if a man's asking a woman their body count, that's a problem. And don't date that dude.
Right.
Women, don't sleep with any guy that asks you that question. It's none of their business.
Facts.
What your count is. Right. And so even if you get to fall in love and get married, does it change how you feel about me now if you find out my numbers? From before? No.
But wait a minute. Because, you're like me and you've moved around, right? Moved around in the sense of you've moved to different places in these United States of America. Because, after what you just said, moved around because could mean a number of different things. How about your 20s and 30s? That could mean a bunch of different things. All right. So you've moved around these United States of America. You go into a new town. Like when you were in Lincoln, Nebraska. Since you brought that up last week, right? If you date someone, do you ever think about, well, what is it that everybody else in this town knows that I don't know about this person? Because like you said, Lincoln was a small town.
I didn't think about that when I lived in Lincoln because I figured I had the benefit of no one knew me and no one knew my history. Where in Lincoln, everybody either went to school together, they know people from their sororities and whatever else. I mean, it was somebody's got to know somebody. So I figured the odds would be high that I could be dating somebody that someone that I either work with or know has hooked up with before.
Right.
But what I liked about Lincoln is they had this maturity about themselves is that they don't talk about it.
Right.
It's not that big a deal, to make an issue of it. And so for me, it didn't bother me a bit. And I never questioned, what does everyone else know that I don't know? Because I think you got to find your right match, I don't believe that there's the one, but you got to find someone that y'all click and vibe with, and maybe she just hasn't found that right person that she vibed with in Lincoln, right?
Does that ever make you think, hey, where did you learn that?
No, but there have been times that I'm like, hey, is there someone I can call to say thank you? And whoever showed you that trick or really taught you how to do that, give them a fist bump for me. I'd appreciate it. Because, I mean, now here's what's interesting. Now, if it's bad, then what? Then, like,
who do I need to go scold for not teaching you some better stuff? Because, here's the crazy thing about this, right? Is I think that the problem is people get caught up on the number, right? It's always about the number. And the body count is too high. And it's like, no, it doesn't, just because somebody has a high body count doesn't mean they're good at sex. We know people who had high numbers and were horrible. And people who had low numbers that were good, because it's about quality, not quantity. And you feel like you're with somebody longer, you probably do more and learn more, as opposed to, and that goes both ways, as opposed to just banging something out every night or every weekend, because you're still stuck at hitting grounders and no longer hitting home runs.
I think it's about experiences, and so you can have a low body count but had a lot of experiences that were great. And same, high body count had a lot of experiences. I think that's what's most important is, what have you experienced that you're going to bring to the table? And what have I experienced that I'm going to bring to the table? I don't need to know how many people you've been with, but I would like to know, what are some things that you like? What are some things that you've done that you enjoy? And what are some things that I've done that I enjoy? To me, that's a better conversation than how many people that you've been with. I want to hear, because if you've only been with 3, but you're into being a dom and you beat the shit out of all of them and tied them up. Well, I don't want to play that game. So
here's the question. If you date a traveler, do you ask, all right, do you count the bodies overseas?
Well, I just felt like, who still counts? Like, at what point do you, I just don't get that. I just don't get that you count how many people that you've been. And again, I just think in this world, in this day and age, you can sleep with as many people as you want. Do whatever you want as long as you're safe about it. But who still has like a little tally sheet? Right? Probably the crazy girl from last week that has the spreadsheet where she tracks all the dates. She probably tracks everybody, all the body count experiences. That way, if she wants to go backwards to somebody to not get her count up, she knows. She has them ranked.
Nope, not that one. Not that. Ah. Hey, big head. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Terryl.
And I'm just Terryl. You ever been out somewhere and overheard 2 people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, like this one. Well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yeah, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, episode 108. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and a review.
Indeed. We talked about this lady a couple episodes ago, Tiffany Cross, back in the news after being released from MSNBC. What happened here?
So apparently they released her abruptly. And so I don't even know exactly the why she got released, but I saw the story. Yeah. And I remember I had issue with what she said about NFL owners were purposely, letting black people get hurt. Yeah. And all that. I was just like, all that conversation was ridiculous.
I remember her because she said Tua was black.
Yeah. And so MSNBC releases her, and it could be because of comments she made on Charlemagne's show about Florida being the dick of the country. And
matter of fact, hold on. I think we have that clip here.
Tiffany, what do you think? One's got to go.
I say Florida literally looks like the dick of the country, so let's get rid of Florida. Ron,
are you saying castrate the dick of the country?
Seriously, let's castrate Florida. Here's the problem. Ron DeSantis, whatever you want to call Florida man, he is so problematic. The people there passed Amendment 4, which gave returning citizens, those formerly incarcerated, the right to vote. He instituted a poll tax. He has done everything he can to keep black and brown people from the ballot. Mm-hmm. He traffics in stupidity and ignorance, and I just think they are a problem for the rest of the country. Let's get them out of there.
And you think that, and you're thinking that may have been enough to get. I know that people speculating that may have been it because it was hours after that she was released.
Mm-hmm. It could be, you had a lot of people speculating it's because she's black. And I'm just like, we got to stop doing that and just assuming people get fired when they're black. You are representing a show. And so sometimes you have to watch, what you say, right? If you and I blow up off this podcast, right? We want to quit our jobs. This is our full-time job. And I get invited to talk on Charlemagne. I'm like, I still represent you and what we have here. I just can't just say whatever I want. And especially when you're dealing with these networks, you just can't do that. If Tucker Carlson were to get out there on Charlemagne's show, which that would be awesome to see Tucker Carlson and Charlemagne, but get out there and just say that Florida looks like the dick of the United States and all that stuff.
Okay.
Fox wouldn't have any issue with him.
Where's the lie, first of all? Number two, people have made many jokes about that in regards to Florida and how it hangs off the edge of the country that way, right? But are we sure it's not because she said it, but she's a black woman saying this, and this is Ron DeSantis and the Republican Party applying pressure to MSNBC because this was said, because she did call him Ron the Stupid, but because you can't say that because the white men and the white women on the conservative right, they say a lot worse, and they've said a lot worse. And she's on an opinion show, and what's the excuse for the people on Fox? Oh, well, it's an opinion-based show. It's not news, even though it's on Fox News. So I'm sorry. There is a bit of race in this at some point or another. It's not ratings because in the first quarter of this year, the show reported a 32% increase in viewership among viewers 25-54. And let me tell you, from being in the media, 25-54, that is the money demo. It's referred to as the money demo for anybody in sales. I can't sell you shit, but I can tell you that 25-54 is what advertisers are looking for.
Well, the ratings and all that, great. The increase in viewership, great. I don't know what's in her contract or clause that says what she can and can't say if she's doing something. So maybe she's done a couple things already, and this was the final, like, hey, we've talked to you about this, and we're not going to renew your contract. I don't know. But I don't like how people just went straight to the race card, for what she said without knowing all the other stuff. Like we do on the police tapes. I want to show me all of it. Show me the whole tape.
You want to hear, you want to see her HR file to see what was in there already anyway.
You have no idea what she could have been doing,
True.
On the back end of it. Look at when what's his name got fired from what was his name that was sleeping with all the women? Matt Lauer.
Yeah.
When Matt Lauer got fired, it was like, what? And no one knew. But then all of a sudden when the story comes out, it's like, oh, shoot, Matt. Yeah. You need to go.
No, and I get that. I mean, I'm never one to try to pull out the race card too fast, right? But some things are pretty blatant, right? And especially in this space when you're looking at the current news, it's this political divide that's there. If the right can say whatever they want, then why can't the left? It's like this whole battle is happening on oh well, now the libtards are upset that we're allowed to say what we want on the right on Twitter. Well, now because there was a lot still being said on both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides are super sensitive, both sides are super stubborn, and both sides can be super ignorant. And let's be real about that. So if the right can say that stuff, then her saying what she said is mild. She didn't spew hate to any race or any one person. Well, okay, one person, Ron the Stupid. She didn't give it to him. Okay, and maybe the whole state of Florida. You know. Okay, never mind. Let's look at the HR file. Let's just look at the HR file. How about that?
Don't know what else she's done or said, but it's like, you're going on shows. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people in media, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They all start out great intentions and they do it. Then once you kind of blow up, you start feeling like you can just say whatever.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any consequences for it. And a lot of times stuff gets let slide for a while until you say that one thing that pisses off the wrong people.
Right.
And now it winds up being a big deal. Look at, Don Amos. Remember the nappy-headed hose thing? I never knew who Don Amos was, but he'd been saying all kind of crazy stuff for a long time. He said that pissed off a lot of folks.
And at the time, I think we ended up working for the same company for a while I was in Charleston. Because it's like, I remember when that merger happened, we're like, he works for what company? This company? And how much is he making?
Yeah. So,
But
that
they
winds
brought
up
him
being
back.
a thing.
They brought him. Here's the thing. You talk about him and all this stuff. He stayed. I mean, I want to say, I'm trying to remember whether they let him go. And he was back. And that's the thing about it, because he made them so much money. And that's the thing I'm talking about when it comes down to the black and the white. Why that sometimes you have to look at it and go, yeah, race does play a part in it.
But Tiffany Cross has only been on it for 2 years.
Yeah.
She'd only been on for 2 years. She was not at the level of a Don Imus yet, right? So she's doing well. Ratings are good, but you've not been there long enough. You've not made enough deposits to make that kind of withdrawal and call Florida the dick of the United States and Ron the stupid, and assuming that no one's going to say anything.
Yeah, you're right. She doesn't have a penis, and it's not pale and lacking melanin. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Who knows? All I'm saying is I don't want to assume it's because she's a black woman that this is why. And I think it's easy to rush to that judgment without knowing anything. And I just think we have to stop doing that.
There's a woman who was out here, as we get into this bullshit, needed some legal advice. So she sought out a lawyer, and she found him. She got the legal advice and got through her legal woes.
She did it smart because she went on LinkedIn to find the right type of lawyer. Once she found the one in her area, she tracked him down and found out his favorite coffee shop and went to the coffee shop every day until he finally hit on her and asked her out. Now, it wound up being a mutual thing because they dated for a little while.
I think it like a month or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but long enough for her to get the legal advice she wanted. He got something out the deal. Mm-hmm. He knows that this was as lawyers would call it, quid pro quo. So I see nothing wrong with her hustle.
Wait. Here's the question. Because I think one of the things she said was that neither of them wanted anything more or anything serious. Doesn't mean that he knew that she set that whole meeting up until he saw it on TikTok, so that she was just using him for that legal advice.
Yeah, but he didn't mind getting used.
Ladies, sometimes you can just, hey, let me use you for a second. And fellas won't run and be like, no, how dare you? I'm offended.
Yeah. Mm-mm. I mean, sometimes, hey, if I know that I'm getting used, that at least I know about it, great.
Yeah.
If I'm in that situation where I'm just looking just for some fun and you just want to use me for that purpose, that's awesome. At least we're honest.
Okay. So, but here's the difference. Because you said something right there that makes it a little different here, right? If somebody using you for fun and they tell you that, like, look, I'm just here for a good time. That's all it is. You'll have no problem with that, right? Like, I just broke up with my boyfriend and I just need somebody to lay under for the next month. You'd be like, cool. Here's a great space. My mattress is soft. Now, but if she said, I'm having an issue at work. I need some HR advice and I want it on your bed. You might think of it a little differently.
Well, I can't give HR advice because I'm not an HR professional. Now, if she wanted advice with her resume and she wanted to do some interview skills training and practice or prep for an interview, and she also wanted to do that naked in my bed, well, I don't mind.
So you wouldn't either way wouldn't feel any different. You're fine either way.
No, I'm fine either way. It's just gonna give you some interview tips, look over your resume, then we're gonna, do the thing. I see nothing wrong with that.
Your cover letter is a little lengthy here, and it doesn't really say much. So you might want to, okay, let me put up some red lines here. No, take the red panties off. Most red lines.
Let's throw out some interview questions. Tell me about a time when you tied up a guy.
Tell me about what I did first yesterday that made you feel great.
Tell me about a time when you just hooked up with somebody because you didn't want to increase your body count, so you just went to an old ex.
Oh my God. Crazy.
Where do you see yourself in 5 minutes? On top or...
How many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Roll or make your toes curl? All right, let's get out of here before I get in trouble.
Tell me about a time you got some feedback from a lover that you did not agree with. What was the feedback and why did you not agree? Go.
And where did you hide the body? Hey, don't forget, we are back Thursday, Married at First Sight, Season 15, Reunion Part 2. Then Monday, we're back for Love is Blind, as that's wrapping up as well, because we've got the final weddings and then the reunion. Look at this. We're going to end both of these the same week. Oh, no, we got another week of Married at First Sight next week. My bad. And then next Tuesday, we're dropping episode 109. This time it is 109.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.